Welcome to The Explainer. So, today we're going to master a fundamental financial skill that honestly often feels way more complicated than it actually needs to be: retrieving your bank statements. Whether you're a complete beginner to online banking or you just need a quick refresher, I'm going to give you a foolproof, step-by-step guide to securely accessing and downloading your Capital One financial data.
I mean, think about it. Are you actually ready for tax season? Or maybe you're just, trying to get a better handle on your monthly spending. Managing your personal finances starts with having the exact right information right at your fingertips. Your bank statements are the ultimate source of truth for your financial life, and knowing exactly how to grab them whenever you need them is an absolute must-have skill.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our agenda for today. First, why bank statements matter. Then, logging in and navigating. Third, downloading your statements. Next, exporting to spreadsheets. Number 5, troubleshooting common issues. And finally, some best practices to wrap things up.
Section 1. Why bank statements matter.
Now, at its core, a bank statement is really just a document detailing all the transactions that hit your account in a given month, right? But it is so much more than just a list of numbers. It's an absolute game changer for budgeting and tracking exactly where your hard-earned money goes, even if it just confirms that, yeah, we probably spend way too much on coffee. It's also absolutely crucial documentation for tax prep, especially if you're claiming deductions. And if you're applying for a loan or maybe renting an apartment, bam, it serves as vital income verification. Plus, and this might be the most important part, regularly checking these statements is your literal first line of defense in spotting fraud or unauthorized transactions. So sure, it's an administrative chore, but it's a highly empowering financial habit to get into.
Moving on to Section 2, logging in and navigating.
So if you're on a desktop or laptop, the process is incredibly straightforward. Step 1, just pop open your web browser, head over to CapitalOne.com, and securely sign in with your username and password. Easy enough. Once you're inside your dashboard, step 2 is to click on the specific account you want to look at, say your 360 checking or a specific credit card. Then, step 3, right there on the account homepage, you're going to see a link that says View Statements. Just give that a click, and you are exactly where you need to be. But hey, what if you're on the go? If you prefer using your smartphone, the process is honestly just as simple. Step 1, sign in to the Capital One mobile app. And as a quick aside, if you don't have the app yet, you can actually just text the word mobile to 80101 and Capital One will shoot you a download link. Pretty handy. Anyway, step 2. Tap the specific account you want to view, and for step 3, instead of looking up at the top, you're going to want to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the screen and tap Statements. All right, section 3, downloading your statements.
Now, this brilliantly illustrates a key difference between the platforms you're using. See, if you're using the web browser on your computer, clicking on a statement lets you download and save it as a PDF file directly to your hard drive. Boom, done. But if you're on the mobile app, tapping a statement is going to render that PDF right there on your screen inside your phone's native document viewer. From there, you just use your phone's standard share button to text it, email it, or save it right to your local files. Now, for those of you managing business or commercial accounts, your dashboard might look a bit more structured, kind of like this information reporting portal. In this setup, you can use advanced filters to select very specific date ranges, account details, and statement types, like e-statements versus account analysis statements. Basically, it's built to handle a much larger volume of data. But the core action, that remains exactly the same. Locate the statement and hit download. Okay, I really want to highlight this massive number, 7. For all active Capital One accounts, the system actually holds a full 7 years of PDF statement history. 7 years. That means if you're ever facing an audit or you just want to do a deep historical analysis of your personal finances, you don't need to panic. This massive 7-year archive is just sitting right there in your online account, totally ready to be viewed or downloaded whenever you need it. Which brings us to section 4, exporting to spreadsheets.
Let's look at how this really builds out your financial toolkit. Instead of clicking View Statements, you're going to look for an option called Download Transactions. This takes you to a dedicated export screen where you can select your date range and, this is the key part, your file format. For the absolute best compatibility with Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets, you always want to choose the CSV format. Once you confirm that, it downloads a beautiful, neat little spreadsheet of all your data. So the crucial point here is understanding the limits of the system. Capital One's native CSV export feature, that easy spreadsheet button we just talked about, is fantastic, but it generally only covers your most recent transactions. Often, we're just talking about the last 90 days, depending on your view. On the flip side, the PDF archive holds that full 7 years of history. So if you suddenly need, say, 3 years of data in a spreadsheet, you're going to have to download those historical PDFs and use a third-party conversion tool like DocuClipper or Rocket Statements to extract that data back into a CSV file. Knowing this limitation ahead of time is going to save you literal hours of frustration. All right, moving to Section 5, Troubleshooting Common Issues. Let's rapid-fire some of the fastest fixes for the most common roadblocks you might hit. First, if the Capital One website just isn't loading properly, check your browser settings. You absolutely have to have cookies and JavaScript enabled for their secure pages to actually function. Next, if you're looking around and can't find the Statements button at all, make sure you're actually enrolled in Paperless Statements, which, by the way, requires having a valid email address on file. And finally, if your account was closed, you unfortunately lose that online access. In that specific case, you have to call their support line directly at 800-655-2265 to request your old statements by mail.
And on that note, it's absolutely vital to understand the difference between an account being restricted versus an account being closed. If your account is restricted, don't panic. It's just temporarily frozen, usually because the bank is investigating a security issue or some suspicious activity. You'll more than likely regain full online access once that's all cleared up. However, if your account is closed, that relationship is permanently shut down. Your online login will absolutely stop working, and you will have to rely on phone support or secure mail to get your hands on those historical statements.
Finally, Section 6, Best Practices and Wrap-Up. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is comparing standard everyday budgeting habits with those strict IRS guidelines. For normal day-to-day bank statements, just holding onto them for 1 year is generally totally sufficient. But the IRS actually recommends keeping any records tied to your tax returns for a bare minimum of 3 years. And get this, if you anticipate any complex issues or audits down the line, the absolute gold standard is holding onto those statements for 7 full years, which, conveniently enough, perfectly aligns with Capital One's digital archive window. Now, before we wrap up, please note this important disclaimer. This explainer is for educational purposes only and should not be considered as financial advice. Please make sure to consult with a financial advisor for personalized advice specific to your unique financial situation. Well, we have covered a lot of ground today, and you are now fully equipped to retrieve, organize, and really utilize your Capital One bank statements. You've got the exact step-by-step roadmap for both desktop and mobile, so I'm going to leave you with this. Now that you have your data securely downloaded and right there in your hands, what is your very first step toward mastering your finances? Whether it's building a brand new budget, prepping for taxes, or maybe just double-checking for errors, the power is literally all yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy organizing.